Beloved chosen one, listen with an open heart. You have not arrived at this moment by chance. Heaven has carefully directed your steps and brought your spirit into alignment with this appointed hour. This is far more than coincidence. It is a divine encounter designed specifically for you. The timing is perfect. God has interrupted your day because you are standing at the doorway of a supernatural financial breakthrough. The provision you have prayed for, the increase you believed had been delayed, and the blessings heaven promised are no longer distant hopes. They are beginning to unfold before you, faithful one. Every restless night you endured, every tear you cried in silence, and every season when you questioned whether God still remembered your prayers was preparing you for this very moment. As Habakkuk totally reminds us, the vision awaits its appointed time. Though it seems to linger, it will surely come to pass and will not fail. That appointed season is no longer somewhere in the future. It has arrived today. The Spirit of the living God declares that your season of lack is coming to an end. The delays that once surrounded your life are giving way to divine acceleration. The inheritance prepared for you is being released according to God's perfect timing. What God is placing into your hands is greater than financial increase alone. He is entrusting you with resources that will fulfill purpose, establish lasting legacy, and break generational patterns that have held others captive for far too long. Lift your eyes with expectation. Open your heart in faith, because this message is your confirmation. Heaven has already begun the work, and the divine transfer appointed for your life is now in motion. Chosen one. Understand this truth. Sudden increase is not merely about receiving more possessions or watching numbers grow. It is a sacred assignment that reveals the true condition of the heart. What appears to be a blessing on the outside is also an opportunity for God to examine what lies within. It becomes a test of your intentions, a measure of your faithfulness, and a reflection of your identity in Christ. When the burdens of unpaid bills disappear, when survival is no longer your daily concern, and when provision becomes abundant instead of scarce, heaven watches closely to see whether your heart remains firmly rooted in humility and dependence upon God. True prosperity is not measured by what you possess, but by how faithfully you honor the one who provided it. The blessings of heaven were never intended to replace your trust in God. They were meant to strengthen your testimony, expand your influence for His kingdom, and allow His goodness to flow through your life into the lives of countless others. Remain faithful in abundance, just as you were faithful in adversity. Continue seeking God's voice above every opportunity, and let gratitude guard your heart from pride. When your character grows alongside your blessings, the favor of heaven will continue to rest upon you, and the resources entrusted to your hands will become instruments of purpose, compassion, and lasting impact for generations to come. Anointed one. Lack forces you to be cautious. In lack, you pray over every decision, weigh every dollar, and move with care. But when abundance arrives, choices multiply. And with choices come temptations. Wealth does not just hand you comfort, it hands you power. And power is like a mirror. It reflects what is hidden, the quiet wounds from childhood, the need to be seen, the fear of being overlooked, the craving for validation. Suddenly, what once whispered within your heart begins shouting in your spirit. If you are not grounded, wealth will rule you instead of serve you. Many believe that God releases wealth to flaunt His favor. But chosen one, favor is never for flexing. It is for stewardship. Wealth is not a trophy you hold up to be admired. It is a tool forged for impact. And in unhealed hands, that tool becomes a weapon of destruction. That is why God allows delay, not because He has denied you, but because He is preparing you. Delay is His way of burning away greed, uprooting insecurity, and strengthening your soul until you can handle the weight of abundance. I know the sting of delay. I have walked through seasons where the heavens felt silent, where my bank balance mocked me, where I questioned whether the promises would ever manifest. Yet now, I see the truth. Delay was disguise, protection in its purest form. Because wealth in the hands of the broken is like fire in the wrong place. It doesn't refine. It consumes. God sat me down and stripped me of the need to impress people who never truly cared. He forced me to face the parts of myself that craved applause. He pressed me until ego cracked and eternity could rise. Looking back, I see it was mercy. If sudden wealth had come too early, I would have wasted it trying to prove myself to people who don't even remember my name today. Chosen one. Understand this. Wealth is less about celebration and more about preparation. It reveals what you love, who you trust, and what still needs to be healed. Many will pray for breakthrough, but curse the exposure that comes with it. But if heaven is positioning you now, it means one thing. God has weighed your soul and whispered, "You are ready." So, do not despise the training. Do not despise the waiting. If you feel the ache of delay, remember, it is not punishment. It is preparation. Heaven is ensuring that when wealth is placed in your hands, it will not drown you, but deliver you. And when it comes, the world will not just see your prosperity, they will see your purity. You will stand as proof that wealth in the hands of the chosen one becomes not just provision, but a living move of God. Chosen one. Let me tell you something that most people never realize until it is too late. Money does not change you. It magnifies you. Wealth is like a microphone placed in front of your heart. It amplifies what was already living inside of you. If bitterness has been hiding in the corners of your soul, money will give it volume. If insecurity has been lingering quietly, wealth will put it on display. If hunger for power has been suppressed, financial increase will unleash it into action. That is why sudden wealth can be so dangerous for those who have not done the inner work. When the resources come, they rarely come alone. They arrive with influence, attention, and access. Doors begin to swing open. But those doors do not only lead to opportunity, they also lead to temptation. The applause of people can feel intoxicating. Strangers begin offering approval you never asked for. And if your identity is not secure, you will begin shaping your decisions around their voices instead of God's. Anointed one. I have seen this play out in my own journey. I remember seasons where I told myself, if only I had more money, I'd finally be happy. But happiness was not hiding in the bank account. Happiness had to be cultivated in my spirit first. When joy is missing, wealth will not fill the emptiness. It will only highlight it. Because money is not a fix. It is a flashlight. It shines on the wounds you avoided, the habits you ignored, the fears you buried. This is why God allows long seasons of what looks like lack. It is not punishment. It is training. Heaven gives you time to heal, to shed the trauma, to release the ego, to reshape the patterns that could destroy you later. It is in the secret seasons, when no one is watching, that your true foundation is tested. If you can be faithful with little, heaven knows you can be trusted with more. But if you spend your last dime chasing validation, what will you do when you are holding millions? Chosen one. Wealth will not only make your name louder, it will test your character louder. The spotlight can either be a platform or a prison. If your identity is weak, you will begin questioning who truly loves you, second-guessing every yes, and bending to the expectations of people who never carried your destiny. This is why your preparation season matters more than you realize. It is in this season that God shapes you into someone who can carry blessings without being broken by them. I had to learn this the hard way. I chased approval. I overspent to impress. I let my worth be tied to what I owned. And every time I ended up emptier than before. But through those failures, I discovered the truth. Money is neutral. It only magnifies what already exists. And when you are chosen, God does not want your wealth to shout louder than your wisdom, because wisdom sustains what wealth alone cannot. So, hear this. You are not being delayed because you are forgotten. You are being delayed because heaven loves you too much to hand you abundance before your spirit can handle it. It is God's gift to you. And when the wealth finally comes, you will not be a slave to it. You will master it. And it will serve the kingdom through you. Chosen one. Here is a mystery about sudden wealth that few are willing to embrace. Delay is not denial. Delay is often the greatest form of divine protection to the natural eye. It looks like silence. To the impatient heart, it feels like rejection. But in the language of heaven, delay means you are being hidden, preserved, and strategically prepared. God has not abandoned you. He has been shielding you from premature exposure. Think for a moment about what would have happened if the resources you prayed for had been released too soon. Imagine wealth falling into your hands when your discernment was still undeveloped, when your circle was full of opportunists, when your need for approval was louder than your commitment to purpose. You would have poured your blessings into leaking cups, given access to people who only knew how to take, and mistaken history for loyalty. The very thing meant to bless you would have sabotaged you. Anointed one. I lived this lesson. I once surrounded myself with people I believed would celebrate my rise. But during the seasons of waiting, God let time reveal the truth. Betrayal showed me who could not be trusted. Silence exposed intentions that words tried to hide. Some clapped for my struggle, but would have resented my success. And though it hurt to lose them, it was holy, because heaven understood that wealth given too early is not blessing. It is destruction. Delay was not cruelty. Delay was strategy. When heaven slows you down, it sharpens your discernment. It teaches you to identify the difference between supporters and spectators. It strengthens your ability to walk alone without collapsing. It reminds you that wealth exposes character and exposure attracts opportunists. Without the training of solitude, you would not be able to withstand the weight of abundance. Chosen one. Solitude is not punishment. It is sacred preparation. In that stillness, God stripped away false friends, removed toxic attachments, and forced you to confront wounds you once avoided. He trained you to pray without applause, to build without validation, and to keep moving even when no one noticed. That quiet season was your spiritual boot camp. I remember nights when I thought I had been left behind, watching others celebrate milestones while my life felt paused. But in the silence, I discovered strength I never knew I had. I learned to guard my peace like treasure. I learned to say no with conviction. I learned that sometimes the absence of people is the presence of God. And now I see it clearly. If you cannot protect your peace in lack, you will not survive abundance. What you thought was rejection was actually refinement. Heaven was pruning away the ones who only wanted your oil but never honored your soul. And when the wealth finally arrives, you will understand the wisdom in the wait. You will look around and see that those who remain by your side are the ones who never needed your riches to respect your worth. Chosen one, delay has always been holy. It guarantees that when sudden wealth manifests, it will not be wasted, manipulated, or stolen. It will land exactly where heaven intended, in the hands of those who are chosen, purified, and ready. And you, anointed one, are counted among them. Chosen one, hear me with the ears of your spirit. The wealth coming to you is not for flexing. It is for funding kingdom-level assignments. This sudden transfer is not about shiny purchases, staged photos, or proving to critics that you made it. That vision is far too small for the mantle you carry. The abundance that heaven has aligned for you is sacred currency, entrusted because God has judged your heart ready to steward it with purity, wisdom, and impact. Anointed one, God does not release provision without purpose. Every blessing he pours out carries a divine assignment. The increase about to enter your life is not primarily for your comfort, though comfort will surely follow. It is for your calling. It is to build legacy, to lift burdens, and to create systems that shift lives long after you are gone. That is why your preparation season felt endless. You were not simply waiting for resources. You were being forged into someone who could carry them without being crushed under their weight. I once believed money would erase every problem, that once I had enough, life would finally feel light. But heaven does not prioritize ease. Heaven prioritizes purpose. Wealth without assignment quickly dissolves into emptiness, but wealth aligned with God's plan becomes transformation. Impact is what you were born for. That is why God stripped away your obsession with applause. Why he separated you from people who fed your ego but starved your destiny. Why he called you into silence where your motives could be purified. When the blessing arrives, you will not hesitate. You will know exactly what to build. Chosen one, purpose requires power. And in this world, wealth holds power. You are about to hold both. That is why you were stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. That is why you were hidden while others celebrated. That is why trials burned so deeply. It was not punishment. It was preparation. Heaven was shaping you into someone who could manage abundance without bowing to pride, fear, or greed. This is not the season to stunt. This is the season to build, to fund visions that liberate souls, to support the forgotten, to create sanctuaries where healing can flow, to answer prayers whispered by those who had nothing left but hope. That is the essence of kingdom wealth. That is why what is coming will not only feel like prosperity, it will feel divine. I saw this truth once in a simple moment. Someone on the edge of despair received unexpected provision, and tears of relief flowed like rivers. That day I realized wealth is not about showing success. It is about lifting burdens. It is about becoming the vessel through which heaven touches earth. And when resources are placed in your hands, they will testify that God trusts you with his answers for others. Chosen one. You were never called to hoard riches. You were chosen to distribute hope, to become a divine distribution center. This next season will prove that you are not only blessed, you are entrusted. Walk boldly, knowing heaven's treasury is opening through you, not for applause, but for assignment, not for ego, but for impact, not for performance, but for eternal purpose. Chosen one, understand this truth. Right now, your life is being studied, not just by enemies or critics, but by financial gatekeepers. There are individuals God is preparing to cross your path, people with the influence to open opportunities that wealth alone could never secure. They include financial leaders, wise mentors, visionary investors, trusted decision-makers, and divine connections you have not yet encountered. They are not simply looking at your abilities, they are quietly watching your character, your perseverance, and the way you remain faithful through every season. To them, promises are not enough. They look for evidence. They value proven integrity over unrealized potential. Chosen one, if you have ever felt as though your labor has gone unseen, know that you are not alone. There were seasons when I also worked without recognition, sacrificed without applause, and whispered prayers that seemed to disappear into silence. Only later did I understand that heaven had never stopped watching, and neither had the people God had strategically placed to observe my faithfulness. They were never captivated by outward appearances or impressive performances. Instead, they paid attention to the strength of my faith. They noticed how I treated people when I had little to offer. Whether I chose integrity when compromise seemed easier, whether I continued giving even when it required sacrifice, and whether I remained committed to my calling when no one celebrated my progress. That is the very process unfolding in your life today. Chosen one, those who hold the keys to future opportunities are rarely persuaded by charm alone. They have encountered gifted individuals and impressive personalities countless times before. What truly captures their attention is someone whose spiritual maturity is matched by genuine humility and whose success is built upon unwavering integrity. This is what distinguishes you from the crowd. You are not merely waiting for financial increase to arrive. In many ways, the opportunities prepared for you are waiting for the moment your character is fully ready to carry them with wisdom. I still remember discovering that someone had been quietly observing my journey for years. I believed my efforts had passed unnoticed, yet they had been watching every season of consistency, every quiet decision to remain faithful, and every commitment I made when no one else was paying attention. When they finally reached out, the opportunity appeared to come overnight. But the truth was far different. It had been developing behind the scenes for a long time. This is often how God works. Heaven prepares the harvest long before it becomes visible. While you believe nothing is changing, unseen doors are being aligned, hearts are being moved, and divine relationships are being established. When the appointed moment arrives, what appears sudden to others is simply the visible fulfillment of a process that heaven has been orchestrating all along. So remain steadfast. Continue serving with excellence, walking in humility, and honoring God, even when no one seems to notice. Every faithful decision is strengthening the foundation beneath your future. The right people will recognize what God has been cultivating within you, and when they do, they will not merely see your talent, they will see a life that has been prepared to carry lasting favor, influence, and purpose. The breakthrough looks sudden, but the preparation has been long. Chosen one, do not despise this season of little. It is the very season qualifying you for more. Every detail matters. the way you manage your time, the way you handle your emotions, the way you treat people who cannot repay you. These are being weighed. God is testing you in private so you can be trusted in public. The gatekeepers are watching to see if you are building with purpose or chasing trends. Anointed one. You may feel overlooked, but you are not forgotten. You are being documented. Every act of faith, every decision of integrity, every step of obedience is writing a record. And when heaven decides the time is right, the gatekeepers will act. Some will fund. Some will align. Some will connect you with platforms you never imagined. And it will seem sudden, but you will know it was earned in the quiet, through perseverance when nobody cared. So hear me. Stay excellent. Do not cut corners because no one is watching. Do not grow weary in well-doing. Keep sowing. Keep serving. Keep building. The right eyes are already on you. The sudden door will open. And when it does, you will not just be given wealth. You will be trusted with it. That is the difference between those who stumbled into riches and those who are chosen to carry legacy. Chosen one. Keep showing up with faith. Your preparation is almost complete. And when the release comes, you will carry it with wisdom, power, and undeniable grace. Chosen one. There is a hidden truth about sudden wealth that few ever prepare you for. It will not only elevate you, it will also expose others. Wealth is not just a blessing. It is a mirror. It reflects motives, reveals wounds, and shakes the fragile foundations of those around you. People who once thought they knew your story will be confronted with a new chapter they never expected to read. Anointed one. You were the underdog. You were the one they laughed at, the one they overlooked, the one they counted out. They thought you would stay small, stay silent, stay stuck. But God, in His perfect timing, chose to raise you up, and when He did, your breakthrough became a disruption. To them, it feels unfair. To heaven, it is alignment. Some will call your success luck. Others will assume manipulation or shortcuts. They will invent stories to dismiss what God is doing in your life, because accepting the truth would require them to face their own neglect, their own pride, their own refusal to grow. They do not hate you. They hate the reflection your rise places in front of them. Wealth forces them to see what they avoided. That favor cannot be bought, and destiny cannot be controlled. I remember walking into rooms where people who once supported me suddenly grew quiet. The atmosphere shifted. Eyes that once cheered began to compete. What I learned in those moments is that success does not create jealousy. It reveals it. Sudden wealth has a way of unmasking hearts. It shows who was clapping for your potential and who was secretly waiting for your failure. Chosen one. Your glow will make people squint, not because it blinds them, but because it tells the truth. Your rise testifies that God promotes based on purpose, not popularity. Heaven does not scan resumes. It searches hearts. That is why you were chosen. That is why you endured hidden seasons, betrayals, and nights of silence. Every delay was proof of preparation. And now, the evidence of that preparation is becoming visible. Do not waste energy defending yourself. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them dismiss. Your life will preach louder than your words. What they call luck, heaven calls legacy. Your wealth is not about revenge. It is about restoration. Restoration of what was stolen, overlooked, and denied. Restoration for your family line, where poverty once reigned. Restoration for every dream that seemed buried. I have lived this. Someone once told me I would never rise, that I was destined to stay small. Years later, they watched the fruit of what God had built through me, and I realized I did not need to clap back. The evidence spoke for itself. That is the gift of sudden wealth carried with humility. You no longer need to prove anything. Chosen one. You are not only rich in resources, you are rich in resilience. That resilience is something they will never understand. Your rise is not coincidence. It is confirmation. Heaven's hand is on you, and no opinion can cancel that. So, walk boldly. Expect resistance, but expect vindication. Let your wealth become restoration, not retaliation. That is the true mark of the chosen one. One of the hardest truths you must face about sudden wealth is the isolation it brings. Everyone talks about the blessing, the lifestyle, the elevation, but few talk about the silence. The higher God lifts you, the quieter your circle becomes, not because you have changed, but because people around you begin to change in how they see you. Anointed one. Money does not just shift your status, it shifts your relationships, your boundaries, and your atmosphere. People who once loved your company may now demand access to your blessings. Others will guilt you for not giving more, doing more, or staying the same. Some will even accuse you of forgetting your roots, when in truth, you are simply protecting your peace. I know this pain firsthand. There was a season when I thought success would mean finally being surrounded by celebration. Instead, I discovered silence. Some who once cheered me on began to compete with me. Others disappeared without a word. A few pretended to support, but secretly hoped I would fall. The loneliness cut deeper than I expected. But eventually I realized it was not punishment. It was protection. Chosen one. God knows that not everyone can walk with royalty. Some people were only meant for your survival season, not your abundant season. If they had access to your overflow, they would have drained you dry. That is why your circle shrank. That is why the conversations shifted. That is why the silence grew louder. Heaven was refining your environment. The truth is, isolation in abundance can feel heavier than lack. When you are broke, at least you know who is truly with you. When you are elevated, motives become blurry. The ones you trust may begin to see you as an opportunity. And if you are not grounded, that realization can feel suffocating. But if you are rooted, you will recognize it as sacred. Solitude is where God speaks most clearly, where strategies are birthed, and where wisdom is sharpened without distraction. I remember sitting in my room wondering why friendships faded and why the phone no longer rang. Then I heard it in my spirit. You are not being rejected. You are being refined. Suddenly, I understood. God was protecting me from voices that would have diluted my destiny. He was guarding me from hands that would have wasted my resources. He was making sure I knew how to stand alone, so that when I stood in abundance, I would not crumble under pressure. Chosen one. The isolation you feel is not exile. It is elevation. It is a sign that you have been set apart, not pushed aside. And though it hurts, it is holy. God is teaching you to trust His presence above popularity. He is showing you that His approval is greater than applause. He is preparing you to carry wealth in silence, with wisdom, without needing validation from the crowd. So, Do not despise the loneliness. Embrace it. It is proof that you are being prepared for more. When the silence grows, lean closer to God. When the circle shrinks, know that heaven is enlarging your capacity. You are not alone. You are aligned. And the isolation you feel today is the foundation of the influence you will carry tomorrow. Chosen one. Listen carefully. Sudden wealth does not only bring blessings, it also brings battles. And the most dangerous battles are not always obvious. The enemy knows he cannot stop the transfer, so he tries to contaminate it. That is why some of the biggest traps you will face in this season will not look like traps at all. They will look like opportunities. They will look like doors flung wide open. Partnerships that seem perfect. Investments that promise to multiply fast. But not every open door is divine. Some doors are disguised, snares designed to capture your destiny. Anointed one. The adversary funds. 2. He sees the impact you are about to make, the healing you are about to fund, the lives you are about to change. And when he realizes he cannot block the blessing, he attempts to twist it. He sends counterfeits, people who look clean on paper but are toxic in spirit. Voices that sound supportive but carry hidden agendas. They mirror your language. They echo your vision. They tell you everything you long to hear, but under the surface is control, manipulation, and bondage. These are not just business deals. They are demonic contracts written to bind your purpose. I remember a time when an offer came my way that looked flawless. It promised resources, visibility, influence. Everyone told me to say yes, but something inside my spirit was unsettled. I prayed, and God revealed the truth. Had I taken it, I would have lost my freedom. My message would have been silenced. My assignment diluted. My future tied to a system I was born to break. Saying no felt risky, but that no preserved my destiny. That is why discernment matters more than numbers. Chosen one. In this season, you cannot afford to decide with your eyes alone. You must decide with your spirit. Ask, who is funding this? What do they stand for? What is the long-term cost? Does this agreement align with your assignment? Or does it pull you away from it? If it requires you to compromise your values, silence your voice, or dilute your calling, it is not from God. A deal that looks good but robs you of freedom is not a blessing. It is a trap. This is why God allowed you to endure seasons of hiddenness. He was training your ears to hear his whisper, even when the noise of opportunity grew loud. He was stripping away desperation so you would never grab at the wrong thing out of fear of missing out. He was teaching you to trust peace more than pressure, discernment more than digits, alignment more than applause. Anointed one. Wealth with bondage is not blessing. It is slavery. You are not called to build something contaminated. You are called to build something pure, holy, and liberating. That is why your resources must remain clean, your partnerships aligned, your motives anchored in truth. Heaven trusts you to protect what you carry. Do not fear walking away from what looks good if it does not feel right. The right opportunity will not pressure you. It will confirm you. The right partnership will not silence you. It will strengthen you. Remember, what God gives will never require you to sell your soul to secure your seat. Chosen one. Pray before you sign. Wait before you leap. And trust before you move. This is not just about wealth. It is about legacy. Protect it. Guard it. and carry it with reverence. Chosen one. As we close this word, let your spirit rest in the truth. Heaven's hand is already moving. Chosen one. Understand this with confidence. You are no longer simply waiting for God's promise to arrive. The blessing has already been prepared. What remains is your willingness to walk completely in step with His purpose. This is your Kairos season, your divinely appointed moment. Even now, the signs are beginning to appear, and the doors God has chosen to open cannot be closed by any human hand. Anointed one, may the peace of God stand guard over your heart, and may His wisdom direct every decision you make. Let every whisper of fear and every voice of doubt lose its power. Instead, may your faith rise with unstoppable strength, flowing like a river that refuses to be contained. What the Lord has begun in your life cannot be reversed by any circumstance. You are no longer standing on the threshold of change. You are stepping fully into it. Every season of waiting served a purpose. What once felt like delay was actually preparation, shaping your character for the blessings now being revealed. The time of manifestation has arrived. I declare that heaven will give you the strength to carry every responsibility that accompanies the favor being poured into your life. I pray for discernment, so you will recognize the right voices to trust, the right opportunities to embrace, and the right paths to follow. May your heart overflow with joy that remains steady regardless of circumstances, and may God's provision continue to sustain you without end. The increase coming into your life is about far more than financial prosperity. God is entrusting you with a lasting legacy. Through your obedience, prayers will find their answers. Weary hearts will discover hope, and generations will experience freedom because you chose to remain faithful. Beloved chosen one, continue walking in unwavering obedience. Stay closely aligned with God's direction, and protect the purity of your heart. For it is within a surrendered heart that the seeds of heaven's abundance grow, flourish, and multiply beyond imagination. Move forward with gratitude, fully convinced that you are already witnessing the fulfillment of God's promises. Every step you take in faith is another reminder that His word never returns empty and His timing is always perfect. If this message has confirmed what God has already been speaking to your spirit, share your testimony in the comments. Your story may become the encouragement someone else has been praying to receive, reminding them that God's promises remain alive and active today. Remain connected to the Lord. Keep your expectations anchored in His faithfulness. Walk into this new season with courage, confidence, and unwavering hope. You are not walking this journey by yourself. Heaven is with you. God is guiding you, and His favor surrounds you every step of the way. May the Lord richly bless you, strengthen your faith, and lead you into a future overflowing with peace, purpose, provision, and His everlasting presence.